Hi guys, another message from Yah for those who know him. I removed last night's message, it was unnecessary, I'm not going to go there. This message reads, and I have transcribed it from a voice recording into my phone. I was summoned by Ezekiel to the kingdom, and it was like a very sort of commanding voice to come up. So I went into the kingdom, and he wanted to show me what was happening with the matrix. The other day when I said there were cracks and gaps, well, there's a lot more of the cracks and gaps happening now. And what that means is that the AI is obviously trying to salvage as much of its infrastructure as possible. So it was more to be aware of what will continue to unfold and get, I guess, worse. He did say it was going to get very frantic because the AI is throwing everything it basically can into the matrix for survival. The other thing was, I got the image of the dream of the other night regarding the two white horses in the snow, and how I had to intuit which was the false horse, which is the false Messiah, the false prophet, and then the real one in amongst snow. So everything looked like it was the light, but I had to be super discerning. So as I was shown this, Yah actually came over, and he was enormous again. And he said to me, what will happen now is the AI will throw all of its programs at once into our matrix world in order to stabilize itself now. He said there will be many false prophets coming through now. There will be multiple false messiahs. And he said that the AI, and in brackets because this was, he didn't say it would, but he said even a false messiah that looks like me. And he said Ash will know if it is me or not. So he said if that occurs, now this is going back to the messenger because this is what they said. Because I said, well, what about Ash? Will she know after hearing the news about the false messiah that may look like Yah? Ash will know if it is me or not. Again, the AI will do everything to hold on to the matrix as best as possible, and it will create many copies, many confusions with the people so that they cannot discern what is true and what is not. So he said, I can tell you all of this because I'm only going to be told or shown things that cannot be stopped by the AI, which is the backup of the message about this a couple of nights ago. But it is in its stage, so this is the AI, is in its stage of now throwing all of its programs into the matrix, so that people, they won't be able to discern without assistance because they are not using intuition and they're not coming from the heart. They're not coming from the inner knowing. He just wanted me to be able to relay all of this because he said that this is what is coming. It will be a calamity. It's just going to get so crazy because I guess the AI will do everything and anything in order to hold its structure. So it was all a bit crazy out there, and actually he showed me what it looks like. So the actual matrix itself, where the cracks and gaps are, what it was trying to do was almost like a really dark sort of liquidy mess. But it was trying to fill in the gaps, but it can't. It can't heal itself. It can't repair itself because of the frequencies that the archangels are releasing down here to open up revelations and have all to be revealed, so that people can see the truth, capital T. But at the same time, the matrix, the AI, will create so much confusion to, I guess, trap as many souls as possible within that confusion, which is what it wants to do. I think that is why I had to see the horses. It was like to just look at it at face value. Both horses were the same, and they both looked the same. And I guess the white snow is like, they might look alike, they're all part of the light, but only one of them is true. And it was to be super discerning about that. And Yah said, yes, the AI could even create something that looks like him. But he said, do not worry, because Ash will know. She knows who I am. She will know whether it is me or not. And that I could discern that, but I don't think it would be. It won't happen for me, but it may happen for you, meaning me. But he said, yes, that the AI is at that level now to throw anything and everything into AO programs to create confusion, illusion, to keep entrapping people. Even if it sounds like it's coming from the light or God, the false prophets will come out. Now, the messenger told the story of going to their feed to see what was in their feed from the internet this morning, and learned that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has announced that he may run for president next year as a Democrat. And then, of course, in the USA, the entire Kennedy family has been held up as a kind of messiahs, and they're revered as messiahs, if you like. And I just let him know that I stopped listening to him a very long time ago, because his children's health defence, which is good in the work that it's doing, however, it upholds the lies of the Holocaust and the lies of World War II, and that just maintains the matrix of the world of lies. If you don't know the truth about World War II and Adolf Hitler, who he really was, and what he was trying to achieve and what he did achieve for the sake of Europe and all Christianity, if you have fallen for the lies of the ones who are the liars and love a lie and keep on with the lie, then you're not of the truth, and it doesn't matter how revered you are, it won't stand. So basically it's at the point now when the AI will throw out the false prophets and messiahs everywhere, and that will collect, even in the words of the messenger, call them good Christians or good people, a lot of or good people of faith or whatever. It will collect them up too. And then again, in the words of the messenger, that's just in the hands of the archangels, Yah, and that will be dealt with whichever way it will be dealt with. He was just basically telling me that we're entering now the phase where the AI will make it look so real and so authentic that the only way to discern will be through the heart, and literally our God-given connection and intuition to know that it is false and not true. So we had a further discussion after that. The context of the dream given a couple of nights ago was that two white horses were following the messenger in the snow, and intuitively they knew that the only way to get to know which was the counterfeit, because they knew that one of them was the counterfeit, was to touch and to form a personal connection with only one of them. Now, I responded through the discussion that, again, everything is to give you an example. It was 2006. I'd already come out of BC, Canada, and in my world, BC was before Christ, because I was already looking for him on the earth. That was 2004, so this is 2006. During the period of a little over 3.5 years, I returned to BC and the USA 5 times looking for Yah. And he always jokes, well, I knew where I was the whole time. Well, yeah, but my journey was to find you. And the timing was always about the timing and following the Blues Clues, as we know. On the trip, I'm pretty sure it was April 2006, I arrived at Denver Airport and I was meeting the counterpart coming down for this part of the journey. And we picked up a vehicle. I'd already reserved one from Australia at the rental places, and me, the angels know me, I go cheap, whatever's cheapest. So, arriving at the rental car desk, a lovely young man said to me, "Oh, taken the liberty of upgrading you for the same price." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And he said, the vehicle, and here are the keys for it, are in J row. And I immediately think, G for Jesus, you know, because I'm undercover looking for him on the earth. And it just happened to be a silver PT Cruiser. Right, so that PT Cruiser features later. The next PT Cruiser that features in Australia was blood red with flames over the wheels. Wheels of fire. And that was in the JCDC part of the DVD there. All right, so it was that trip. Yes, it was April 2006. And driving now the PT Cruiser along, I believe it's Highway 34, and just having no plan, go with the flow. We're heading away from Denver along Highway 34. We ended up, the first place we stopped because we were hungry was Howard Johnson Hotel to have something to eat. And I'm not going to go into details, long story short. At the end of that trip, which lasted, I think it was 10 days, perhaps a little bit longer, as we set out, I named the trip The Road Beyond the Veil, V-E-I-L, because everything for me is that veil between the earth and true earth, or the kingdom, if you like. And anything is possible, we've got to go with the flow. And we're actually called the, Walk on Water with a Backpack. It was at Boulder, Colorado, where I found open a hardware store to unlock the case belonging to the one who was accompanying me when she left her keys back in BC. And what to do? I said, well, took it into the hardware store in Boulder, and of course they were able to unlock it for me. But it was at an information centre just outside of Boulder, as we're now. Where do we go now? And I actually picked up a book that was titled Road Beyond the Veil, meaning Vail, Colorado. So, long story short. Cut to the chase. The statue, that's right, this is what I was telling the messenger. I went through this book. It was about all the tourist attractions for travellers to go and look at. And the last one, I said, we have to go here. And it was actually a statue on top of the mountain, 23 feet high. It was erected after a nun in I think about the 1920s, found water up there at the top of the mountain, and so she raised the funds to have this statue of Jesus built. I said, okay, looks like this is the last place we go on now. Our return trip to Denver Airport, and then back to BC, Canada, and me back to Australia. There were a lot of stairs, and as I'm climbing the stairs, I'm hearing, I'm sensing, I'm feeling, saying, no, that's not it. That's the heart of stone, because the trip was about life and a heart of flesh, and I had written several things about that heart of flesh. And I said, no, that statue is lifeless. It's the heart of stone. So I just said, no, not going there. Don't need to. Now, down the stairs back toward the car park, and there was snow all around on the ground and over the trees. And I looked up, and there was a statue of Jesus in his robes, and the arms swinging, the movement of the robes, and just life in his face. And it was such a surprise and a shock, and I just said, that's what it's all about, the heart of flesh, the life, because I knew he was on the earth and I was going to find him. So the dream that was given the messenger a couple of nights ago about the two white horses, as she said, they were identical, and they were in a snow-covered environment. So in her mind it was, everything was white or light, but only one of them was the truth. Only one of them was what I call the real deal. And she discerned in the dream how to tell the difference, and that was by touching and forming that bond, sensing the soul and the spirit within, the heartbeat. Whereas she said that the other one was dead. And that's where I came in with the heart of stone, the heart of flesh. And I said, and that is why I insisted that Yah sing throughout all of 2020, and I uploaded him singing. I said to him, people have to hear the heart of God and connect with the soul of God, what he thinks, what he feels, how he communicates. And Yah has always said that the love songs that have been poured out into the earth for decades, said, the words are from the heart of God. And Yah had such a vast memory for the words of love songs and, all of the crooner ones, and he would just start singing. He said that's how he got through his childhood, was to hear what was being sung over the radio. So remember, Yah born 1944, small child growing up into the 50s, where he started to go to school. So it was throughout the 50s and the 60s as a young man. This is the music that he would hear and remember because it touched his soul. And he always said that those love songs come from the heart of God. So yeah, that's what's important, not about anything concerning my life before Yah. And so this is the critical information that for all of those who do know Yah, and for all of those who perhaps have rejected in the past, and you're now beginning to, perhaps there is no chance, I don't know. It was always about the stone that the builders rejected. If you reject him, then it was, perhaps that was the door shut to come back later. I don't know. However, all I know is that God is love that you can touch, you can feel, and it's yeah. I've always said too when I found out that Yah is the rock of offense this time. His revelation of himself, his teachings, was true. I mean, how do you even begin to describe what it is that he was thinking when he began the revelation of himself from BC Canada in 1990 on June the 17th, the birthday of Jesus in 2 BC. Not having what we have today as far as memory concerning computers, I think the most memory they had on an IBM 286, which was released in 1988, was some ridiculously small amount of memory. If I say 512 megabytes, that might be too much. I don't know. You can go and look it up. But that's what he started with, to begin to what? God measures his creation. For the truth of him is revealed in the measuring of it. And it reveals himself. Doesn't reveal anybody else. Reveals him. It was for himself to find for our sakes and say, here it is. Here's the evidence of who I am. And he left when the final two pieces of evidence were given to him, and they were two death certificates of his relatives. That for Yah had always been the only unanswered questions for him. From the small boy of not 4.84 years, 3.841 years of age, when he heard his own voice as an adult commanding him to climb the fence. He goes next door to find the lady on the bathroom floor, and then he finds that small boy of about, he thought, 2 years of age. Well, I was only 1.841 years older than that small boy, and we know today, because of the work of one of the saints in Michael, who came in right at the last September to present Yah with the evidence of just who that small boy is, because that small boy is an old man today. He's alive, he has family, and his daughter has communicated with Michael, who brought the evidence in for Yah, and it's all up there. It'd be worth going back to have a look at just what came in about Yah. It was actually finding the real date, which was a year before Yah could recollect. It was always, he just remembers Daphne. And we had a lengthy conversation on how that information would have been revealed at the time. He always thought that the day he climbed that fence, obeying the commands of God, was November the 14th, 1948. It wasn't. It was the year before, November the 14th, 1947. So he was 3.841 years of age. And in weeks it was, rather days, it was Gabriel the Archangel. And in years it was Almighty God, omnipotent. So, and then the two pieces of evidence that came in, they were presented to Yah the morning that he left the house, and then the next day Hervey Bay Hospital. And it was that evidence, again, saints who had given up their lives. The next door neighbour lady that he found on the floor, she gave up her life. He regarded these relatives and friends and neighbours as saints who gave up their lives when they did, in order to prove Yah's existence as Almighty God on the earth. He was humbled that morning and stunned, actually, and so grateful, full of love for those saints who went before him. And it was only about 3 hours later that he was gone from the captain's chair, and then the 30 hours played out, at the Harvey Bay Hospital, and then he left at 7:37 p.m. on the third day of the 10th month, a 3:10. Hello. All written in the stars. So now I'm going to end here. It's going to be a long file. Yes. For those of you who know Yah, you know Yah. End of story. Yeah. A good message.